Bitcoin and stablecoin carry tremendously different properties. Bitcoin is censorship resistant. It's neutral. It has no controlling entity, controlling government, controlling bank. That's not true for stablecoins. And so we view Bitcoin as a neutral reserve payments protocol, as it's like a public utility for the world. No one can stop you from using it. No one can negate access to it. Now, stablecoins are entirely different and serving an entirely different market and customer. A lot of the stablecoin users around the world, the stablecoin like Tether is actually competing with their local fiat currency, not necessarily with Bitcoin. These customers own Bitcoin and Tether instead of Bitcoin and Naira. And so we think of them as two entirely different products serving two entirely different use cases, but most importantly, they have very fundamental different properties. What we believe Bitcoin serves to the world is an open value transfer protocol that isn't owned, governed, or controlled by anyone. And that's not true for any stablecoin that can exist, because at the end of the day, they're representatives of a nation state currency, no matter what stablecoin it is.
Well, the first thing I'd say is the regulatory environment is definitely evolving, and it's going to allow us to re-enter being able to offer crypto coins in our invest product, the ability to buy, sell, or hold cryptocurrency. And we hope to be able to do that over the next 6 months or so. In our earnings call, we'll talk about the fact that over the next 6 to 24 months, we want to enter cryptocurrency and blockchain activities in a much broader and more significant way. Again, it's dependent on the evolving regulatory environment, but so far that environment's been really positive. We want to be able to offer blockchain products and crypto products across every area that we're currently in. So across lending, across paying, across investing, and as well as protecting. We think it's a technology more than anything else, and we can use it to allow people to pay easier at lower cost, to pay faster, and over time be able to capture some of the opportunity by providing infrastructure services to third parties via our technology platform. So it really will cut across every element of our business. It's going to be subject to the regulatory environment, so I just have to caveat that. But today we provide margin loans in our invest business where you can borrow money against your securities, against your assets. We can do the same thing with cryptocurrency. If we custody the cryptocurrency, we can provide a secured loan against that currency. Again, a lower cost of lending for our members, just like margin loans are, but an asset that they can borrow against, just as they do their home or securities in their invest account.
I think the dollar is really going to drop another 15%, 20%.
Inflation is basically down, and interest rates came down despite the fact that I have a Fed person who's not really doing a good job, but I won't say that. I want to be very nice. I want to be very nice and respectful to the Fed. You're not supposed to criticize the Fed. You're supposed to let him do his own thing. But I know much more than he does about interest rates, believe me. Core inflation has reached the lowest rate in 4 years. And last month, we had the largest drop in consumer prices since the pandemic. This is all done in 100 days. Think of that. This is all done in 100 days. But when you watch the fake news, you see fake polls. Again, they poll more Democrats than Republicans. Democrats aren't going to say, I'm going to vote for Trump. And we still got 45, 44%. But on the legitimate polls, I think we're in the 60s. I think we're in the 60s or 70s or something. In 3 months, we have created 350,000 jobs. Think of that. For the first time in recent memory, job gains for native-born Americans now exceed job gains for foreign workers. This is for the first time, and nobody even knows when, Americans now are doing better than foreign workers. How about that? I mean, that's okay. I want everyone to do well, but that's okay. And to curb inflation, we're cutting a record number of job-killing regulations. We beat in the 4-year first administration, which was a tremendous success. We cut more regulations than any president in history, including 2-term presidents, including Roosevelt, who was more than a 2-term president. We cut more regulations than any president in history in 1 term, and now our 2nd term. And, I don't know why. It was so important to win because they used to say, the fake news, to be a great president, you have to serve 2 terms. So now we're going to serve 2 terms.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Jack Mallers going over Bitcoin versus these stable coins. And remember, Bitcoin and stable coins are still controlled by the central banks. Because when Bitcoin pumps, it's pumping off of the liquidity that these central banks are pumping in. And when you look at the big holders of Bitcoin, a few hands. Bitcoin mining, a few hands. Don't forget, big banks and big corporations have been funding Bitcoin and crypto from the beginning. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have so far gone over the opportunity in crypto. And we know it's all about the fees. And then when you add in lending, of course, there's more fees. And DeFi is definitely the new banking. And we have the dollar will drop another 15 to 20% due to countries moving away from U.S. assets, going to an alternative, and the tariffs are the last straw. But guys, remember, this is a plan. It moves in phases. And by Trump devaluing the dollar, it also lowers the debt so we can get on this level playing field. And that video was a great video, but it was on the Asian side, so they would have flagged my video. So I put the rest of that video inside of the Patreons. Now we have Trump on the Fed. Says he knows a lot more about race than Jerome Powell. And says inflation has went down. Guys, we know for a fact prices just keep moving up. Inflation is definitely not down. They have to take out all the things that we actually consume. So it seems like inflation is not that bad. But we clearly know this is all about corporate greed. It's only a handful of companies that own everything. And when they're ready, we're going to see prices plummet. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then we have Lucknick on community colleges. Says that's where he's going to be getting the workers to work in these warehouses. And guys, I keep telling you, you don't want these jobs. And they keep telling you these warehouses are automated. So that means you're going to be working with the machines. And eventually the machines are going to tell you what to do and then also fire you. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have 145% tariff on China. Is going to slowly destroy the U.S. economy if they allow it to persist. We clearly see that it's changing the supply chain. And we know it's problem, reaction, solution. That solution they had ready 20 years ago, because blockchain is definitely going to be the fix. But we have Adidas says these tariffs, they're going to be raising prices on all U.S. products. And we know they're not going to be the only ones. Amazon, Walmart, everything is going to be going up. So we'll get the popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. We're going to see how long they're going to allow this to go. But we definitely know the plan. And Amazon confirmed it will not show the prices of the tariffs. And guys, we know that wouldn't be good for anyone who's trying to sell something. That wouldn't even make any sense. Unless you're giving the merchants a heads up. But you're definitely not going to tell the consumer. That wouldn't make any sense. But like I've told you on this channel and also on the Patreons, get yourselves prepared. Get you at least 2 weeks of necessities just in case. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
So the key is, where are you going to find the people to work here? Right? You're north of Phoenix. Where are they coming? That's right. You go to the community colleges and you train people. So all the community colleges around here, Arizona State's on it, Grand Canyon, all these community colleges here are training people right now, technicians. And these are really good paying jobs. They start at 70s, 80s, $90,000. These are trade craft. It's time to train people, not to do the jobs of the past, but to do the great jobs of the future. You know, this is the new model where you work in these kind of plants for the rest of your life, and your kids work here and your grandkids work here. You know, we let the auto plants go overseas. Right now, you should see an auto plant. It's highly automated, but the people, the 4,000 or 5,000 people who work there, they are trained to take care of those robotic arms. They're trained to keep the air conditioning
You're
system.
taking a lot of guff about a robot comment.
You know what? I don't mind.
Will the robots take the jobs? Will the robot? I mean, it's a serious question.
We're going to go look through this plan, and what you're going to see is a highly automated plan that employs 3,000 people per plant, right? You got to remember these plants, all these automated arms and stuff, they need to be fixed. They all need a technician to fix them. They need the air
engineer
conditioning
to build them,
system
whatever.
Right, all of these things. This is trade craft. This is high school educated, great jobs that start in 80s and 90,000s and go up to 150 to $200,000. This is the future of American manufacturing. It is not, as they joke online, like Americans work in the sewing machine. Oh, come on. We are going to drive the high value, high performance jobs to America. And of course, the rest of the world is going to make the low value things and sell it to us inexpensively. Of course, that's the model. People just don't want to listen to the truth, no matter how many times.
145% tariff on China. The flow through effect to much of the economy is pretty darn significant, and inflation on the backside of that. That is a pretty significant influence on where the economy is. I think the U.S. economy will be fine. In the next 2 months, or the data we'll get for April, May, and June, you could go through a pretty significant downturn as companies pull back and say, we're going to wait. As consumers say, you know what, I'm a bit fatigued by price. I'm a little concerned. I'm going to wait. And so I just think, whether it's a long-term recession, I don't think it will be. I just think you can have a little bit of a pullback here. We have significant near-term growth deceleration as people just say, you know what, I want to wait. Effective tariff rate, let's say it's 15%-ish. U.S. economy can withstand that. Where it is regionally, where it is by sector, there'll be some real dispersion. But I think the economy can handle it. And then I think the second half will show better results.
Sportswear giant Adidas now saying the tariffs would result in price hikes for all of its U.S. products. The company said it did not yet know by how much those prices would get boosted, also noting that the global trade dispute was preventing it from raising its full-year outlook despite a first-quarter profit increase. Now, the company pointing out that it's somewhat exposed to tariffs on China, currently a rate of 145%. However, the biggest impact was coming from the general increase in U.S. tariffs on all other countries, which are largely held at 10% while those trade negotiations take place. And we also heard from Amazon this morning saying that you actually now get to see what the cost of those tariffs are literally on the screen when you press buy compared to what the list price is.
I would anticipate a lot of places.
Yeah, so Amazon says that they were never considering any sort of tariff-like disclosure on their main retail sites. What they were considering was they've got a low-cost goods service called Haul. It's very much in the mold of Temu, designed to ship things directly from China. They say they were considering some sort of disclosure there related to closing the exemption on duties for products shipped in that manner, but that they have no plans to do anything on the main site, and now they're telling us that they don't plan to, and there's no future for this.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.